What's up, trail hoppers? Let's be real. Nothing tests a relationship more than running out of hot water in the shower. That's right, whether you are a newbie or a seasoned RVer, the minute you run out of hot water, all kind of trouble is on the horizon. In this week's episode of Hopping the Trails with the Hopkins, we might just have an upgrade that will save your sanity and maybe even your relationship. Who knows? Let's ride. All right, trail hoppers. So if you have ever run out of water in your rig, specifically hot water, you know exactly what I mean when the storm or the chaos is on the horizon. Everybody's fighting over who's going to take the shower first, so forth and so on. But what we have decided to do for this week's episode is we have partnered with Andeman to install the tankless water heater. The Andeman TWH-201 will be the model that we will be installing today. But before we can do that, we have to get our old water heater out of there. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. This is a water heater. What it's not is a hot water heater. Let's ride. All right, trail hoppers, as we prepare to remove our old water tank, let's talk hot showers. No waiting, no drama. This upgrade for us is definitely going to change our RV life experience. First off, it's a beast in that it pushes out 55,000 BTUs of instant hot water. That's right, no more tank, no more waiting on the water to heat up, no more lukewarm trickles. It fires up, boom, we got the hot water when we need it the most. But not only that, not only is it just fast, but it is also smart. The TWH-201 has a smart anti-fluctuation temperature control, which basically is a fancy way of saying you're not getting blasted with cold water just because somebody else flushed the toilet or turned on the sink water. It also has 9 layers of a safety shield, giving you that protection. We're talking about freeze protection. We're talking about dry combustion shutoff. We're talking about overheat control. This thing is basically a bodyguard when it comes to the water heater. This particular water heater has been specially engineered for RV living in that it is compact, it is sleek, it is easy to install without sacrificing to performance. You'll see here later in our video that it's going to fit into the space where we removed the old unit from. Our overall impression of this unit is that it is going to be a great addition to what we had previously. This water heater hasn't messed up for us. We've been using it for quite some time now. Even after this install, we're doing the voiceover here just showing the old one, but we've been running this unit for a couple weeks now and have not had any problems. So sit back, enjoy the rest of this installation. Let me know in the comments if you're thinking about upgrading your system and what you are planning to do in the future. Let's ride. All right, trail hopper. So as you can see, I got the old tank out, and now we're getting ready to start our prep work to get the new system put in. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of this old caulking and old adhesive cleaned up from around our opening, just to make sure that we have a clean opening. And I'm also going to sweep in there a little bit just to get all of that stuff cleaned up. And then we will do the big unveil of the new system. Let's ride. All right, so we have our new tankless water heater out of the box. Go ahead and take a look on the inside. So we see we've got those mounting holes up there. So this unit should be relatively easy to get installed into our existing hole over there. And so we are going to get some butyl tape put around the edge of it just to make sure that we get a watertight seal on there, and then we will follow it up with some silicone. So we are going to go ahead and get the new unit set over there into our hole, and then we'll move inside to finish up the install. Let's ride. All right, trail hoppers, so we are back with this water heater install, and this is day 2. Not because we couldn't get it done. Well, it was because we had to make some adjustments to some of our connectors. So as you can see right here, we have our LP connector that's supposed to connect to the water heater, but I didn't want to have to rerun all of those lines. And so what we have opted to do is we went ahead and ordered some 3/8 flare adapters, and we are going to convert that so that we can hook up an LP line and have the flexibility to be able to run it to the back of the unit. So we are going to go ahead and get our adapter connected so that we can continue on with our install. All right, so now that we have our LP lines, all of that situated, what we are going to do now is we are going to prepare the water heater for the final install. So we have our roll of butyl tape here just to make sure that we get that watertight seal when we get it attached to our rig. So we are going to run this all the way around the entire unit right here on the flange, just to make sure that we can get that good seal when we attach it back to the rig. So let's go ahead and get that done. And we are actually using the die-core butyl tape. You'll see a link to it in our description. And it is really nice because it's nice and pliable, and you can mold it exactly how you want it. So we are going to get that.
All right, so we are now on the inside of our rig. We have the luxury of having this nice access panel to be able to get to the back of our water heater pretty easily. So you can see up there to the right up there, that's where we did the conversion for our LP line, and then we have it down here. So we're going to get that connected here in a second, but I want to show you guys this bypass that we had from our previous setup. It came in real handy when it comes to winterizing our rig, but as you can see, it does not line up well, so we are going to have to figure out what we can do there. As you can see, the plumbing under here is just, yeah, it's just a mess. So I think we are just going to probably try to put some water supply lines on there to see if we can utilize the existing connection so that we can keep our bypass in, just so that we can winterize our rig when it comes to the winter time. So let's go ahead and jump into that. I'm gonna try to show you guys as much as possible of this part, but as you can see, I'm laying on the floor here and my cameraman is off duty today, so we're gonna see what we can do, but we're gonna go ahead and try to jump into it. All right, Trail Hopper, so we got all of our plumbing done. We have our LP connected, and now we are going to go ahead and wire up the power. Now, our previous water heater was dual function, so we had two 12-volt leads running down to the water heater, and I'll show you our panel here in just a second. But we have 12-volt power here in the neutral, and then we got 12-volt power here, and then we got our second neutral. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cap these for future use because we won't be using this for the install. We'll stay with our neutral and then our 12-volt power. We'll get those hooked to the water heater, and then we will get the control panel hooked up. Let's ride. All right, so we got our connections made here to get power down to our unit, and we got our wires capped here. So we are definitely going to do some cable, do some wire management under there and get that cleaned up a little bit. But now we need to run the wires for our control panel. Now what I'm thinking we are going to do is, so as you can see under here, just past the plumbing, up over in the corner over there, we are going to run it through there, through this compartment, and we are going to put it on the back wall back over there. And so it'll make more sense when I can show you, when I can get some light under there. But basically we are going to put the panel here on the outside, over here by our control panel. And so we have our master control panel up here. We actually hooked the water heater up to the gas heater there. The electric heater has been disabled, but I think we are going to put our control panel somewhere in here just for ease. And that way the control panel will be out the way. We'll be able to access it fairly easily. So we are going to get our holes drilled for that and then get the control panel mounted. Then we will start doing our validation testing where we test for leaks and we make sure that the unit does power on. So stay tuned. Let's ride. All right, so we got our control panel on. You can see it back over there. We got the door open, so there's the line coming down. So just over this pipe here is our wire. So we will get it pulled up and over. And again, we're going to do some cable management to get it tacked back along the wall. But just for right now, while we're still in our testing phase, we are just going to get it temporarily rigged up here so we can test, make sure we got all the right power. So we should see our cable right here. There we go. And so now we are going to get this wired up into our connections here. And for this control panel, polarity doesn't matter. So we're just going to get both sides connected, and then we should be ready to do our 12 volt test to make sure. So with our control panel is going to be controlled by the 12 volt switch that we have up there. We could have wired it directly, but we just opted to utilize the switch that was already there. So the switch will give the our control panel power, and then there's an on-off button on the panel itself. So let's go ahead and get this wired up, and then we should be good to go. All right, so we got our rig hooked up to city water, so we got water pressure coming. All right, so now we want to take our rig out of bypass here. So we are going to take it out of bypass to check our water connections to make sure that we don't have any water leaks, and we do. All right, so we got our little water issue resolved. So as you can see now, the valves are pointing towards the tank. We got water flowing and we have no water leaks. So the issue was we needed to add an additional washer to the water supply lines to make sure we had that good seal. So now you can see everything is tightened up. No water is leaking, and we still have our bypass in. So now what we will do is go ahead and get the unit fired up. We're going to do our LP test just to make sure we don't have any leaks as we are running the system. I think we're going to set our temperature to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And so we'll see how it turns out. All right, trail hoppers, so we are back. And as you saw, we had a LP leak right here on this fitting. In our initial test to see if it was leaking, we were getting bubbles around the fitting, indicating that the gas was leaking, and I could smell the gas inside the RV. So what I decided to do was I decided to go ahead and get out our gas leak detector just to confirm it. And so the gas leak detector that we use is this one right here. And you can find it in our Amazon store. This comes in hand when you suspect that you have a gas leak. It does really, really well with, confirming those things and finding those small leaks that you may have. So this is definitely some kind of this is definitely a safety tool that you want to add, just to your regular RV toolbox. But anyways, what I suspect is, even though we did not have to use the pipe joint compound on here because of the flared fitting, you don't have to use it with the flared fitting. For whatever reason, it was leaking. So we did end up adding some pipe joint compound to it, and that resolved our leak issue. So even so, on the connection here, as well as the connection up top, we put pipe joint compound on there just as a safety precaution, because again, it was leaking. So we got everything hooked up. You see I did some wire management there. We still have a little bit to do back over there, but we will get that done in the end. But overall, the installation so far of this particular unit has been amazing. It was super easy to install. We didn't have to do a lot of modifications, and the modifications we did were purely because we wanted to utilize our existing setup. So we will go ahead and get it fired up and make sure that everything is flowing as it should. Let's ride. All right, so there is our control panel that we set up earlier in the installation. So we are going to go ahead and do our test here. So we turn on the water. So as soon as the controller detects the water flow, then we see we got the flame there on the left, and we see that temperature rising. And so already the water is already getting hot. And so we are now at 105 degrees within a matter of seconds, which is absolutely amazing. We decided to actually run ours right around 107 just for the consistency of not having to run the cold water while taking a shower. So as soon as the water flow is shut off, you can see that the flame has went out and it's no longer heating the water. So the unit that we have is up and running now, and we are absolutely elated to have this tankless water heater now. So we shouldn't have any more problems with running out of hot water as we're out there on the trail. The bigger issue that we're going to have now is running out of water, but that's a whole nother conversation.
So stay tuned. The final thing that we are going to do is go ahead and get our unit caulked, and we will wrap up this week's episode. Let's ride. All right, so we want to conclude our final review of the tankless water heater, the Andeman. And when I tell you guys this was a super easy installation, it was really easy to install, especially if you have a setup like us. You should be able to get it installed with no problems. The directions that came with the water heater were easy to read, easy to follow, and you shouldn't have any problems getting it in. Just some things to consider with the water heater, and it doesn't have anything to do with the water heater itself. It has everything to do with whether or not you are going to be boondocking, or if you are going to be hooked up to city water. That is a consideration that you will have to make in terms of your shower head and your water consumption, because with having unlimited hot water, it allows you to take longer showers, which means you will use more water. So as far as I'm concerned, this water heater is definitely a 10 out of 10. Would recommend to purchase. And if you're thinking about that upgrade, just go ahead and do it. You can always switch back if you needed to, but we will get the final thought from the boss on the subject matter, the wifey who had the original problem with us running out of water. What do you think about the new water heater?
So I don't know any of that technical stuff or anything that you just said, but I love it. It's hot. It stays hot the entire time. It's almost like I can do a Calgon commercial, take me away. So definitely an A+, definitely a recommend for those that like to shower in a nice hot setting. So yeah.
All right, Try Hoppers, you heard it from the boss. That's it. So until next time, let's ride.